Hey everybody, Unstable Gamer here, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be going over the best abilities to put your T4 ability materials into those precious orange materials that we're collecting and hoarding only for the best abilities, and we're going to talk about that for the new Supernatural team in this video. But first, before we do, if you're just now finding this channel and you want to stay up to date with this and other games, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Alright, and welcome back. So, before we jump into this, I'm playing this on my computer using BlueStacks. If you want to play this game and other mobile games on your computer as well, there will be a link in the description below. If you do choose to use that link, it does help support the channel, so thank you very much for that. So let's go ahead and talk about these precious orange materials here for these T4 abilities. So we're going to go ahead. I did do recent videos on Ghost Rider and Elsa, so we're going to jump through talking about their kits really quick, and then we're gonna go ahead into the other ones. I haven't really ventured into them prior to this video, so let's go ahead and talk about Ghost Rider first. Alright, so this guy here, his Hellfire here, attack primary target for 200% damage and apply bleed for 2 turns. That's a really, really fun attack. You add 50% damage to your primary target if you take that up to a level 7. That's all you do. You punch it up 50%. It's only going to hit that primary target. For me, it's not worth that orange material, so I'm going to leave that at level 6. Hell Cycle, this is a cool animation as well. So attack primary target for 260% damage and apply bleed. 2 bleeds, actually. Attack all adjacent targets for 240% damage, and then you're going to apply 2 bleed as well. And this attack cannot be blocked and cannot miss, which is awesome. If we take that up to level 7, we're going to add 30% damage to your primary adjacent targets, and you're going to apply bleed for 2 turns to your primary target. This one I did him and haw a little bit about, but for me, I'm going to go ahead and leave this at level 6. For me to consider this as something that's worth these orange ability materials, that apply bleed for 2 turns to primary target, if that applied bleed to the adjacent targets as well, that hits up here, then for 2 turns, then I definitely would put orange material in that. But since it doesn't, I'm going to go ahead and leave this at level 6. All right, Penance Stare. Attack primary target for 430% piercing. Piercing's always important because it gets through that armor. And then you're going to apply offense down and defense down. If charged, this attack gains 200% drain and loses 1 charge. If you go ahead and punch that up to level 7, you're going to add 70% piercing. It's a nice boost, and like I said, piercing does help get through that armor, but that's all it does. It's just that primary target. It doesn't do anything else, and it's 240 orange material. That's a lot. So for me, I'm going to leave this at level 6. I don't suggest upgrading this to level 7. All right, Spirit of Vengeance. Passive. So we've passed on everything so far. So let's take a look at the passive. On death, grant 2 ability energy to all supernatural allies. On non-summoned allied death, attack the enemy that killed the target for 400% damage and gain +1 charged, up to a maximum of 5. Gonna generate 2 ability energy for self, and then when a negative effect is applied to an enemy, change speed bar of self and all supernatural allies by 3%. Whoo! There's a lot. There's a lot in here. And then gain 20% max health. And supernatural allies gain plus 20% max health. If we take this up to level 5, you're going to add 100% damage. And then on non-summoned allied death, you're going to gain 3 ability energy instead of the 2. And you're going to add 20% max health for self and your supernatural allies. There is a lot in here. I definitely think it's worth the orange material. So for Ghost Rider, my suggestion really for orange material is the passive. All right, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at Elsa. Elsa, if you've not had a chance to take a look at her yet, she's pretty doggone cool. She's massive. She does massive damage, and it's very, very cool. So attack primary target for 35% piercing. There's that piercing again, plus bonus attack 5 times. So you're doing 6 attacks for 35% piercing. If we take that up to level 7, you're going to add 10% piercing to the primary and secondary targets. Yes, it hits more than just your primary target, but it's only 10%. It's really not much. Not much at all. So I would definitely pass on that one. All right, if we go ahead and take a look at this one here. So attack primary target for 240% damage. Attack the most injured enemy for 290% damage, ignoring taunt and stealth. And then if you go ahead and take that up to level 7, then you're going to add 60% damage to primary and secondary targets. So for her, you know what? It's 60 cents. 60 cents. It's 60%. It's a nice punch up. But, I mean, it's fine the way it is for me. Unless you just want to go all in on her damage, you can go ahead and put the orange material in here. But for 220 orange material, I can think of some other abilities that would better fit in, especially if you have a limited amount of orange material. So I would pass on that one as well. Let's take a look at Scatterguns. Gain offense up for 2 turns. Attack primary target and adjacent targets for 220% damage, plus 15% per supernatural ally. If we take that to level 7, you're going to add 30% damage to the primary and secondary target, and you're going to add 10% damage per natural ally as well. For me, this is definitely worth it. You're attacking your primary and your adjacent targets, but you're also additional 10% per supernatural ally. So you have 4 on your team. It's additional 40% damage. It's huge. On top of this 25%. So you got, 15%. So you got 15% plus that 10%. You got 25%. You got 100% additional damage right there. That's a lot. I think it's worth it. All right, and next, this censorship here. All right, on miss or on ally miss. This is a really cool passive. If this character has 3 or more supernatural allies, which really, that's your whole team right there. So attack that target for 220% damage, and then on enemy dodge, attack that enemy for 220% damage as well. But wait, there's more. If we continue here, gain plus 10% crit chance, and then Mystic allies gain plus 10% crit chance. Almost everybody on that team, I think, is Mystic. And then gain 10% accuracy per supernatural ally. Everybody's supernatural on that team. And that accuracy, oh my gosh. So I haven't really had a really good opportunity to test it, but if you're blind and that accuracy helps boost her past that blind so she can hit, oh my gosh, that's awesome. But there's a lot here. So if we go ahead and bump that up to level 5, you're going to add 50% damage, and then you're going to gain 10% accuracy per supernatural ally. So for me, that 10% accuracy, so what is that? That's 40%, right? Plus this. So you have 50% accuracy total on your team. I think it's worth it. I definitely think it's worth it. All right, so there you go. Okay, so let's take a look at some other characters here in this theme. We're going to go ahead and jump into Doctor Strange's kit. And what do we have? So, attack primary target for 150% piercing and apply offense down. This is unavoidable. Nice attack. If we take that up to level 7, we're going to add 20% piercing. Again, nice for getting through that armor. Apply offense down for 1 to 2 turns. For this one here, again, it's just that primary target. It's not doing much more than that. A little bit of boost in your piercing. You're already at 150%. You've got offense down. You have a chance to boost it up to 2 turns. Okay, but I would still hold on to it. I would leave this at level 6. There's not enough there for me. All right, Winds of WATOOMB. Apply 2 random negative effects against primary target. 90% chance to flip all positive effects on each enemy to negative effects. And if positive effects are not flipped, they are removed instead. So if we take that up to a level 7, we're going to always flip enemy positive effects into negative effects. Now, for me here, it's a nice ability. You're already doing it 90% of the time. You're only bumping up 10%. I would hold on to your orange material. Book of Vishanti. So, revive a dead ally with 40% health, plus heal 10 lowest health allies for 5,000 health, plus 10% of this character's max health. If we take that up to level 7, we're going to revive supernatural allies with 65% health, revive ally with 50% health. Look at that. That's a double revive. If I'm reading that right, that's a double revive, right? Oh, wow. And then heal allies for 8,000 health. Wow. So for me, I would definitely put into this one. I think it's worth it. Next, Master of Arcane Arts. On turn, 20% chance to change lowest allies speed bar by 30%. Wow. Let's go ahead. Let's rewind. On turn, 20% chance to change lowest allies speed bar by 30%. If this character has 3 or more supernatural allies, which Probably you're going to most of the time. When a positive effect is applied to an enemy, heal for 5% of this character's max health. If we go ahead and take that up to level 5, plus 10% chance to change allies' speed bar, so it goes from a 20% chance to a 30% chance. If this character has 3 or more supernatural allies, when a positive effect is applied to an enemy, gain +1 deflect. All right, so what? 3 or more allies, when a positive effect is applied to an enemy, heal for 5% of this character's health and add a deflect up to a maximum of 5. I like that. For me, I think this is worth it. I would definitely use orange material on this ability as well. All right, that is Doctor Strange. Just go ahead and take a look at, we're going to save Mordo for last. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Scarlet Witch here. And Hex Bolt. I think you already know what my suggestion is going to be for this. Attack primary target for 140% piercing damage and apply 1 to 2 random negative effects. If we take that up to level 7, we're going to add 20% piercing. That other one added 90% piercing, 70% piercing, and we didn't go for it, so we're not going to go for 20% piercing. So pass on that one. All right. Next. All right, so this one here. Redistribute your total squad health evenly. Apply deflect to all allies. 50% chance to apply defense up to each ally, and then always apply to Vision if he's an ally. You know what? I don't know that ally's really going to be much of Vision's going to be much of an ally anymore, but there you go. You still got that in there. If you take that up to level 7, you're always going to apply that defense up to all allies. I think it's worth it. You jump from half the time to 100% of the time. I think it's worth going ahead and putting your orange material into this to get that defense up. All right, Chaos Wave. Chaos Wave. Attack all enemies for 85% piercing damage, plus each target has all negative effects prolonged by duration of 1, which is always nice. That ability's always been like this, and it's always been good. If this character has 4 or more supernatural allies, 50% chance to apply defense down to all enemies. This attack is unavoidable. If we go ahead and take that up to level 7, we got plus 15% piercing, so we go up to 100%. If there are 4 or more supernatural allies, you're always going to apply that defense down. So check it out. I would put into this, so you have defense up on your team. You have defense down on your enemy team. What is there not to like about that? That is absolutely awesome. So I would do that as well. So those 2 abilities. Let's go ahead. Power of CHTHON. I still don't know how to pronounce that. But on turn, 40% chance to spread a negative effect from an enemy to a negative effect to an adjacent target. This does not spread stun. Now, if we take it up to level 5, plus 10% chance to spread that negative effect. You're going from 40% chance to 50% chance. It's a very small percentage increase. I don't think it's worth it. Now, if it spreads stun, I probably would put into it. But as it sits right now, I don't think it's worth the 200 orange material. So there you go. Warp Reality and Chaos Wave went out on this one. So let's go ahead and take a look at the final one. We got Mordo here. Arcane Scourge. Attack primary target for 220% damage and apply 1 to 2 random negative effects. Always nice. And then if you take that up to level 7, you're going to apply 2 random negative effects to a target. You go from 1 to 2 to 2. So you're always going to get 1. And half the time, or a small percentage of the time, you're going to get 2. And you're going to put 180 orange material to make sure that you always get 2. I don't think it's worth it. That's all that this does. It's a waste, in my opinion. All right, so Mesmerize. 50% chance to stun primary target. If target is not stunned, blind target, plus 50% chance to blind up to 3 targets. 50% chance to slow up to 2 targets. Now, if we take that up to level 7, we're going to always apply that stun to your primary target. It's just your primary target. If it was kind of an AoE stun, that'd be kind of cool. You go from a 50% chance to a 100% chance. Stun is good. It's a turn-based game, but I think for 220 orange material, there are other abilities to put into, so I would not put into Mesmerize. Demons of DENAK, or DENAK, whatever it is. Attack all targets for 210% damage, plus apply heal block for 2 turns. This attack cannot miss. We take that up to level 7, and then it's plus 30% damage to your primary target. Again, small percentage increase only to your primary target. I would skip on this one as well. Finally, look at this. We're skipping on everything here. What about too many sorcerers? You think it's worth it? Huh? Let's go ahead and take a look at it. On death of any character, heal self for 10% of this character's max health. On death of a mystic, heal self and most injured supernatural ally for 15% of this character's max health. And grant ability energy to self and that ally. If we take that up to level 5, grant 1 to 2 ability energy on death of mystic. On death of any character, heal most injured supernatural ally for 10%. So, 200 orange material, passive. This one I like. Whenever you have a chance to give more ability energy, I really like that. On death of a mystic, I like this. So up here is heal self and most injured supernatural ally for 15%. On death of a mystic down here, you're going to heal most injured supernatural ally for 10%, right? So you're getting a nice increase there. And I definitely think that this is worth it. It doesn't say plus 10%, does it? On death of a mystic, heal self and most injured supernatural ally for 15% of this character's max health. On death of any character. There we go. That's the key right there. So this one is strictly mystics. If we go ahead and upgrade that, sorry about that. That's on death of any character that you're going to go ahead and do that, which is always good as well. So definitely good ability to put into. That ability energy by itself is definitely a plus. So there you go. That's what I had for you today. That is the Supernatural team. That is where I would invest your precious orange materials, because, you know, we do not have a stockpile of them yet. Some of you might. I don't. So I got a little bit there, but that's for my Ultimate 7 team that I'm playing around with right now. So there you go. Very curious to know what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Definitely let me know. All right. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.